Picture this. The year is 69 BC. A baby girl is born into the Ptolemaic dynasty. Little do they know she will grow up to become Cleopatra, one of the most powerful and controversial leaders in history. This little girl, born to royalty, was destined for greatness from her earliest days. Raised in the lap of luxury, young Cleopatra was groomed for leadership from a tender age. She inherited the throne of Egypt at a time when political stability was but a fleeting dream. The Ptolemaic dynasty was rocked by internal strife and external threats, a tumultuous landscape that the young queen had to navigate. Cleopatra, even in her youth, was a force to be reckoned with. Her intellect and charisma were evident from the start. She was a born leader, a woman of great ambition and even greater courage. As Cleopatra grew older, her cunning mind and charismatic personality would lead her to take some shocking actions. In a world dominated by men, Cleopatra's strategic alliances and political maneuvering were nothing short of extraordinary. In a patriarchal society, Cleopatra used her intellect and charisma to gain and maintain power. Her story is not just about a queen, but also a shrewd politician. Cleopatra's rise to power is intertwined with her alliances with two of the most powerful men of her time, Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. When Julius Caesar arrived in Egypt, Cleopatra saw an opportunity. She forged a political and personal alliance with Caesar, which not only solidified her position as the Queen of Egypt, but also linked Egypt's fate with the might of Rome. Together, they had a son, Caesarion, further cementing their bond. Following Caesar's assassination, Cleopatra turned to Mark Antony, a Roman general and politician. Their alliance was both political and personal, culminating in a marriage and the birth of 3 children. This alliance was instrumental in Cleopatra maintaining her power in Egypt and expanding her influence in the Roman Empire. However, these alliances were not just about personal gains. Cleopatra used them as a means to achieve her ultimate goal, the ascension as the sole ruler of Egypt. After the death of her younger brother, with whom she was supposed to share the throne, Cleopatra declared herself the Pharaoh, a title traditionally reserved for male monarchs. She was the first woman to rule Egypt as Pharaoh in her own right, breaking centuries-old traditions and norms. All these political maneuvers and alliances were part of Cleopatra's grand strategy. She was a woman with an extraordinary vision, a vision of a powerful and independent Egypt. She wasn't just playing the Game of Thrones, she was rewriting the rules. But Cleopatra's ambition didn't stop at ruling Egypt. She had a grander vision, a vision that would lead her to make some shocking decisions. So, buckle up, history buffs, as we delve deeper into the life of one of the most intriguing leaders of the ancient world. Cleopatra wasn't just a queen, she was a living goddess, a symbol of power and prosperity, but her rule was not without controversy. Stepping into the shoes of a pharaoh, Cleopatra had an uphill task to lead Egypt, a nation that had seen better days. She was a beacon of hope in a time of turmoil. But Cleopatra was not just a beacon, she was a force that brought about radical changes to restore the glory of Egypt. In her quest to re-establish Egypt as a formidable power, Cleopatra instituted various cultural and economic reforms. She harnessed the power of Egyptian mythology, presenting herself as a reincarnation of the goddess Isis, the mother of all gods. This clever move not only solidified her power, but also resonated deeply with the people who saw in her a divine leader. Cleopatra's economic policies were no less influential. She introduced a series of reforms aimed at revitalizing the faltering economy. From promoting trade and agriculture to minting her own currency, Cleopatra's economic strategies were instrumental in Egypt's resurgence as a prosperous nation. Yet Cleopatra's reign was not all roses. Her rule was marked with controversy. The most significant of these was her alliances with Rome, particularly her relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. These alliances, while politically advantageous, were viewed with suspicion and resentment by many, leading to accusations of betrayal and a loss of national pride. But Cleopatra was a leader who was unafraid to make hard choices, even if they were unpopular. She understood that the survival and prosperity of Egypt hinged on her ability to navigate the treacherous waters of politics, both domestic and international. And while her rule was marked by prosperity and controversy, Cleopatra's personal life was even more shocking. The queen, who was once worshipped as a goddess, would soon find herself embroiled in a series of events that would lead to her downfall. But that's a story for another day. Cleopatra's rule was marked by prosperity and controversy, But her personal life was even more shocking. Behind the throne, Cleopatra led a life filled with passion, deception, and scandal. The Queen of the Nile was not just a figurehead of power, but also a woman of intense emotions and complicated relationships. Her personal life was a whirlwind of alliances, both political and romantic, that shaped her reign and ultimately her destiny. For starters, let's delve into Cleopatra's relationship with Julius Caesar, the Roman general who was both her ally and lover. Their bond was a blend of politics and passion, as it helped Cleopatra solidify her place on Egypt's throne. Together, they had a son named Caesarion, or Little Caesar, who Cleopatra claimed was the heir to both Egypt and Rome. This declaration, however, was a source of great controversy and tension. Following Caesar's assassination, Cleopatra found herself in the arms of another Roman, Mark Antony. Their connection was intense and fiery, resulting in 3 children. But their relationship was more than just a romantic entanglement. It was a strategic alliance that aimed to combine their powers against their common enemy, Octavian, the future first emperor of Rome. Yet amid all the politics and power plays, Cleopatra's personal life was riddled with scandal. Rumors swirled about her supposed exotic beauty and irresistible charm. She was accused of using seduction as a weapon, luring powerful men into her grasp for her own advantage. These tales, whether true or not, have only added to the mystique and allure of Cleopatra's persona. But it wasn't all love affairs and controversy. Cleopatra was also a mother, fiercely protective of her 4 children. She fought to secure their future, even if it meant going against the most powerful empire of the time. This maternal instinct was as much a part of her identity as her political cunning and strategic mind. Cleopatra's personal life was as complex as her rule, but her end was even more tragic. Just as her reign was marked by conquests and alliances, her personal life was a tapestry of love, scandal, and fierce determination. In the end, these elements intertwined to form the captivating and enduring legend of Cleopatra, the Queen of the Nile. In a twist of fate, Cleopatra's ambition would lead to her downfall. As the famous saying goes, pride comes before the fall. This was no less true for Cleopatra, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt. The first domino to fall was the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. This was not just any battle. It was a naval confrontation between the forces of Cleopatra and Mark Antony on one side, and Octavian, the future first emperor of Rome, on the other. A crucial turning point in the final war of the Roman Republic, the Battle of Actium spelled disaster for Cleopatra. Octavian's victory marked the beginning of the end for her. Following this defeat, Cleopatra retreated to Egypt, hoping to regather her strength. But the tide had turned against her. Octavian was not content with his victory at Actium. He wanted Egypt, and he wanted Cleopatra. The final act of Cleopatra's life is shrouded in mystery and intrigue. It is alleged that she committed suicide, choosing to end her life rather than be paraded in Rome as a captured queen. The legend goes that she allowed herself to be bitten by a venomous asp, succumbing to its deadly poison. In the wake of her death, Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire, marking the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty and the end of an era. Cleopatra's ambition, her will to power, had been her undoing. But in her downfall, she found a different kind of immortality. Her story, her life, and her death have echoed through the ages, making her one of history's most enduring figures. Cleopatra's life was a roller coaster of power, ambition, and controversy, and her death was the tragic end to a remarkable journey. Her fall, like her life, was nothing short of epic, a fitting end for a woman who dared to dream, to fight, and to rule. Cleopatra's life was filled with shocking events, but her legacy is even more astounding. This remarkable queen left an indelible mark on the world, shaping Egypt and beyond with her rule. Her reign influenced not only her contemporaries, but also generations to come. She was a woman of power in a world dominated by men, and she used that power to her advantage, leaving a lasting impact on the world. Her legacy also permeates the realm of art and literature. Cleopatra's life and reign have been the subject of countless works, from Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra to Hollywood's Silver Screen. These portrayals, although varied in their interpretations, all capture the essence of her strength, intelligence, and charisma. Cleopatra's life may have been mired in controversy, but there's no denying her impact on history. From her rise to power to her tragic end, she remains one of the most fascinating figures in history.